All right, man. You saw this story about the censured St. Johns County Commissioner.
Oh, yeah.
She is defending her comments that she made at a public meeting. Commissioner Krista Keating-Joseph. Krista Joseph, as they have her listed here. I believe it's still Keating-Joseph. Recently censured for comments that were deemed political speech by other board members. She spoke out recently about the censure, and she's defending it as a formal disapproval of an elected official. Let's see. During a recent board meeting on November 21st, Joseph spoke out against ongoing heavy traffic, tree clearing, rapid housing construction, and other developments in the county. Her comments prompted her to urge residents to vote in the upcoming election. That was met with objections from fellow board members, which led to that censure on a 4-1 vote. She says she's defending her stance against what she sees as uncontrolled growth. City's online development tracker lists about 452 proposed ongoing developments. Whew, that's a lot.
It's a lot.
That's a whole lot, man. Including around 101 housing-related projects. Joseph attributes her censure to her outspoken position on unchecked growth, which, by the way, a lot of people hold that same position around St. Johns County.
Exactly,
I mean, it's one of the, if you put out polls on what are people most concerned about in St. Johns County, I can guarantee you, I would bet everything I have, those polls come out and say, it's the growth.
Right.
It's the development. It's the traffic that has to do with it.
Look what they're doing at 210. That's the same case in point. The Twin Lakes or whatever they're called. Yeah.
Everywhere.
Right.
Just everywhere you look, man. You know, one of the reasons that Krista Keating-Joseph is in office is because people felt like, I believe she replaced Jeremiah Blocker, who, by the way, very nice guy. I've had great personal interactions with Jeremiah, but I think the community felt like he was too close with developers. And that's why, despite him having one of the biggest monetary totals in that election, he just received hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Wow.
But again, people didn't like how close he was with the development community. People want to elect folks into our county commission at this point in time that are going to stand up to some of that, I think. And Krista Keating-Joseph is the only one who seems to be doing that. Let's see. Concerns, they say, about the county's growth aren't isolated to Joseph. Organizations like Fight for St. Johns County have distributed flyers, they say, targeting specific commissioners, two of whom, Roy Alamo and Christian Whitehurst, face re-election next year. Now, we've had Christian Whitehurst in here a couple times. We respect his willingness to come in and talk to us.
True.
Obviously.
That was very cool.
But I kind of think he sealed his fate by being the biggest cheerleader for that 1 cent sales tax we saw a couple of years ago. Really went on a campaign trail for that. People did not like that. Obviously, the majority of the community voted against that. So Commissioner Henry Dean, he initiated the censure. He's also up for re-election. He clarified that the motion was prompted by concerns about potential violations of state law rather than a difference in stance on development. He has a point. He points out the Florida statute 104.31. I'm not sure that that's what he says is the statute. I didn't look it up. Prohibits officials from using their position to influence votes. So I will say, if that is the case, which, like I said, I didn't spend time looking into this particular statute. But, you know, she did mention voting.
Yes, she did.
She did mention voting. So if that is indeed a violation, then it sounds like they may have been in the right to do this. However, I think most of the community is going to side with Krista Keating-Joseph. And I think, you know, it's been interesting to see the other commissioners' treatment of her since she became a commissioner.
Yeah, that's a very strong point to make. Yeah.
It's just, you know, I don't know what goes on behind the scenes. I really don't.
There's something funky going on. Am I wrong by saying that?
No, there definitely is.
I mean, I know that I say dopey things a lot, but there's just something, the math ain't mathin'. It's not here.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a lot more to this. Obviously, Krista Keating-Joseph has billed herself as the non-development commissioner, and I think she's been consistent on that, and I think people appreciate that out of her. And I think the commission would be smart to realize that she's got a lot of support because of her stance on development and things like that. And I would like to see them all try to work together a little bit more.
Yeah, me too.
Honestly.
Across the board, we've got to start working together better.
Yeah. And it's just not a good example of working together, especially I think they're all in the same political party for the most part.
But I also know there's a time and a place for some things. Like I don't go to a United Way board meeting and say, we should not support this. You know what I mean? That's just, was that the right forum to do that? And I think that's why they have some of those rules and regulations that are set into place for those kinds of things. I don't know. Maybe she felt like she didn't have a voice and that was the only chance that she could have a voice. Yeah. And she, rattled the cage of mediocrity on that moment. So I'm not sure if that was a Norma Ray move or, you know what I mean? Like, the Sally Field standing on the table union or not. I feel like there's definitely more to this story, and there's a lot going on because she was supposed to be, she was the vice chair, and I guess now Roy is not, and he's over.
Yeah. So they skipped over her. That's right. So she was the rightful vice chair.
I can see her frustration, and I think her frustration needed to be heard. But what is that? Was that the right forum? I'm not sure. And if I'm over speaking, I apologize. I don't. That's just me as a layman observing from what was going on.
Yeah. Like I said, we don't know the full story. Right. There probably are some legal things here, but even before this, it would appear to outsiders looking in,
right,
that she has been targeted.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting situation, man.
Come on, guys. We gotta get along. Let's make this happen.
Yeah. I would like to see everybody just working together a little bit more, finding some common ground. Because like I said, she beat out an incumbent who had a lot of money because people just made the decision that we're not going to vote where the developer money is on this one. And I think there's probably even more than the last election, there's probably going to be more of that sentiment coming up next year. So it'll be interesting to see how this unfolds.
Yeah.
Like we've said before, man, we have immense respect for anybody who puts their life and their privacy on the line to hold public office,
right,
to get elected, because you really, from day one, you put a gigantic target on your back, and goofballs like us can just get on the internet and get on our smartphone apps and say whatever we want, right? And you open yourself up to that. So it's not a job that I would ever want to do for numerous reasons. Right. So we have all the respect in the world.
Emotional. I know.
Yeah. For individuals who do take on that responsibility and open themselves up to the press and the criticism and all that stuff. But, obviously we want people who are going to represent us and our interests here in St. Johns County.
Yeah.
So it's a fine line to walk, and all of these commissioners have done very good things for their districts as well along the line.
Absolutely.
So it'll be interesting to see how it all shakes out. We'll just be watching from the outside.
Yeah. I hope they can figure it out.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, me too.
Be a leader.